Good evening, all of you. On behalf of Sri Lanka Kuwait chapter, I warmly welcome all of you for this live webinar on Plan Your Golden Days, a session on creating financial independence at your retirement. I'm Sachini Arivikrama, an executive committee member of Sri Lanka Kuwait chapter. So today, during our session, we will explore essential topics to empower you on your financial journey, such as the importance of wealth planning, exploring secure investment options in the market, practical advice on how to achieve financial independence. So before we proceed, please be note that we will be sharing a CPD link toward the end of the session. And if you are a CA member, please fill the form to claim CPD hours. And if you have any queries or need clarification, you can submit the text question in Q&A section at any given time during the presentation, and we will address those in our Q&A session. And it's my great pleasure to introduce our session speaker today, Mr. Nilendra Vithanage. Nilendra is currently serving as the Chief Manager of Business Banking at National Development Bank PLC, Sri Lanka. In addition to his role in banking, he is a lecturer, economic analyst, and a strategic business partner. He is also a chartered accountant as well as a chartered management accountant. So without taking much time, I will hand it over to our speaker. Over to you, Nilendra.
I'd like to thank the CA chapter at Kuwait for inviting me because this is something I think that all of us are very sometimes eager, as well as sometimes some people are worried about because planning your retirement, as well as I would say that's when the team wanted me to put a name to this, I told them better we put this as a golden days, right? Planning your, not the retirement, but the planning your golden days. So it's kind of that gives you the kind of weight, and that gives you the kind of I would say the importance when we say it's golden days of your life. And I must especially thank Timuthu and then thereafter our friends all at our Kuwait chapter, and Tarindu as well as Sachini once again for the invitation. So friends, let's start off the things by seeing what's called as retirement. So retirement, in the sense, good old days, we thought that retiring means you work until you achieve the age of about 55, so sometimes 60, and then thereafter you retire from your job, right? You think like that. On the other hand, some people, let's say, were thinking about, if I retire, what will happen to my financial future? Because think of yourself, if you work until the last day of your work, you will have all your titles, right? You will have all your subordinates, you will have all of your, let's say, the people who say, yes, sir, no, sir, everybody will be there. But on the very next day, you will become a different creature, right? You will become a different person because your titles will be gone, and the kind of respect sometimes that you have gained will no more be there. So these kind of things were there. And people were very worried. People were very afraid about that. Then came the concept that everybody was thinking, hey, will we retire or not? Are we going to retire or not? Now, if you take the European countries, the retirement at age 55, 60 nowadays is not much of a case, right? Nowadays, people are working. Some people loves working. That's also there. Some people loves working as much as they can, because the people have their drive. When they work only, they will have that particular drive with them, and it will make their life also a bit easy. So what we are going to discuss today will be relevant for the people who want to retire, maybe at 55, maybe sometimes you can retire at the age of 40 even, no, 35. So you can sometimes retire like a cricketer, okay, like a superstar or a sports star. Now, a cricketer or let's say a football player may retire at the age of 35 sometimes. So the retirement age of yours is up for your discretion, right? So take that conventional retirement age of, let's say, retiring at 55, retiring at 60 out of the equation. That's really important, right? So you all have to know that you all have to remember the conventional retirement age, what we call as a normal retirement age of retiring at 55 is out of the equation now. So if you want, you can retire at 35. Yes, perfectly fine, you can do. And if you want, you can retire at 55, 60. That also you can do. And also, if you want, you can retire. You don't want to retire, right? You will continue to work as a person. So that's the discretion that you can have. So think on that first. Think about it, right? Because that's the decision that you have to take. That's a call you have to take. So if you are a young chartered accountant, if you are a young finance team member, right, you can decide upon whether I'm retiring at 35 and starting my own business. That you can do. Or maybe if you are a professional accountant, you can start your own practice as well. So retiring at 35, you can make your own entrepreneurship, start off it. We will talk about that there are on a kind of when the meeting goes on. So retiring at 35, that's also a possibility. And retiring at 55, possibility. Continue working, right, until your twilight, it's also a possibility. So the first call that I want all of you to make in terms of your career, in terms of your life is making a decision of when to retire. Out of the three options I gave you 3 options now, right? Maybe early retirement, maybe retiring on, let's say, the kind of the conventional way, or maybe work until you reach your twilight. So these 3 options, out of that, one you can select. That's the first call that you got to make. So based on that, so that's the objective that you have to have, right? That sort of an objective, that sort of a target should be there in your mind. So when you make a decision on that, whether I'm going to make an early retirement, I would say you can retire at even 30, right? Early retirement. Or when I'm going to retire at 55, okay. Oh, I'm going to work. That's your objective, that's your target. Then you need to have to develop your own strategies to achieve that. So how do you achieve it? Now, the point that I am taking into table is that if you are retiring, you need to retire with financial independence surrounding you. No point of retiring without financial independence. So having financial independence without, in the parameter of you, with I would say, with your life, is the point that will make your life easy, that will make your decision making easy, as well as that will make you feel comfortable. So how to achieve financial independence at the time of your retirement? Once again, repeating, early retirement, conventional retirement, or working until you go out of this particular world. So how do you strategize? What are the things you have to do? My dear friends, now you all are finance professionals. I think most of the forum here is our professionals in finance. So you know finance. But as a banker, right, who has now about approximately 13 years of banking experience under me, I have seen many finance professionals, friends, who are having very poor financial discipline. Very recently, I'm telling you, I'm sharing my experience without reciting the names and all. I can share my experience with you. Very recently, one CFO, Chief Financial Officer in one of the leading tourist hotel, one of the global tourist hotel chains, right? So one of the leading tourist hotel chains in down south, in Sri Lanka, that CFO got a sudden heart attack, right? At the age of 36, right? I'm telling you, these are not, I would say, these are not kind of stories that we come up with. These are actual experiences of mine working in banking sector. This CFO got a heart attack, right? He was drawing some 7-figure salary as a CFO, right, in Sri Lankan terms. So that's kind of a fairly okay salary in terms of the current context. Remember, when he got the heart attack, he was supposed to go for 6 months rehabilitation. With that, he got a kind of a stroke as well. I forgot that. He got a stroke as well. So he had to undergo minimum 6 months rehabilitation. Then after about 2 months time, his employer stopped remitting his salary because employer recruited another person. So that happened, right? Because from the point of view of the employer's point of view is such that students, employer will always recruit another person when we all are replaceable, right? Take that point. We all are replaceable. At any given point in time, if you think that you are not replaceable, you are irreplaceable, take that point out of your mind. The very next day, if something happens to you, employer will replace you. So after about 2 months time, after remitting the salary, employer stopped remitting the salary. A new recruit was taken. So then what happened? This CFO, by the time he got that stroke and the heart attack, my dear friends, 3 credit cards worth approximately more than rupees 5 million, right? In Sri Lankan terms, it's quite amount, right? More than rupees 5 million, 3 credit cards were used up to the full limit by him, right? And he has not constructed his own house. He was living on rent, but that's acceptable. But no savings at all for him to support his next medical expenses, his, let's say, physiotherapies. No savings with him. Now, a chief financial officer of a leading global hotel chain operating in Sri Lanka down south, chief financial officer supposed to have financial independence, financial discipline within him. But remember, see, most of our people themselves do not have it. So it's very pathetic, and also it's happening. So just recall about yourself, right? Just recall about yourself, how well you are in terms of your own finance, because we are the ones who are preaching finance to the corporate world, right? We are the ones who are preaching finance within Sri Lanka, maybe in Middle East, right? Maybe in, let's say, Europe, maybe in Australia. We are the ones who are preaching finance, right? But if our own financial discipline is not there, forget about it. So these are true stories, right? Today in this discussion, I will share you, by being a banker, I can recite you a number of experience that we have. Then, what is this financial discipline means? Now, always try to live within your means. That's really important. We as a country, Sri Lankans, we as a country, we lived beyond our means, right? Coupled with that, the corruption and as well as the bad decision making of our policymakers, last year we were falling into a trap. So similar way, most of our lives, we live beyond our means. So when you put that target of yours, whether to have an early retirement, whether to have a, let's say, conventional retirement, or whether you continue, take a kind of a reflection. Am I living beyond my means? That's really important. See whether your housing mortgage is affordable to you, or else at that time, see whether your vehicle allowance, or let's say vehicle loan commitment is bearable by you. See, have a kind of a SWOT analysis, because we are very good at doing SWOT. We are very good at doing PESTEL for our organizations where we are working, but we don't do it for our own selves. So take a moment and recollect yourself, reflect on you, and put your own personal SWOT and see whether you are living beyond your means. If your employment income is about 500,000 rupees, I'm talking about in LKR, if your remuneration is 500,000, but if your monthly expenses are more than 1 million, friends, you are living beyond your means. So take a moment and see whether you are living beyond your means. So that you have to do it. Okay. So see whether your housing mortgage is above your limits, above your means. Your vehicle mortgage is above your means, and see whether your expenditure is beyond your means. Really important, this thing, because for you to plan out your retirement, for you to plan out your golden days, you need to know where you are right now. If you are already in financial trouble, if you are already in kind of an unsustainable situation with regard to your debts, right? You are not in a good footing to plan out your financial needs. So it's really important for all of you to see where you are right now. Okay, so think on that. Then go ahead in. Where am I right now? It's really important. So then what you got to do, right? The next point that you have to think is that if you are gonna retire, right? How much amount of money I should have in my kind of easily accessible savings account. So we'll take right point by point. Savings, investments, retirement plan. So the general means in financial discipline, right? In banking as well, we say everybody to have about their 6 months living expenses and mortgage bills in a readily accessible savings account. That's quite a good norm that we all have to have if we need to have financial independence. If you want to have financial independence, rule number 1, right, is that you need to have your 6 months. That's really important, right? This is the cutoff. Now, we all are very good at preaching working capital management now, right? How to roll out the money, working capital management, trying to find money from here and there and try to run your business. We are very good at it, right? For preaching that to the business, we are very good at it. But how if something happens to us, if we lose our job, right? If we are to, let's say, if someone is working in Middle East, if you are to all of a sudden come back to Sri Lanka, maybe because of a family commitment, maybe because of, let's say, a political instability wherever you are working, if you are to come back once again, do I have 6 months my living expenses, 6 months worth of my, let's say, mortgage bills in a readily accessible account? That's really important to have. So build it. So you need to build that 6 months, I would say, that emergency fund within you, easily accessible savings account. This should not be in a kind of a fixed deposit account, right? Maybe in a money market account, maybe in a wealth plan account. I will talk about wealth plan as well, right? So 6 months worth of living expenses should be there at an easily accessible place, right? So savings account, money market account, or maybe wealth plan account, these should be there. That's number 1. Rule number 1 is that, because then only you are mentally free, right? Then only you are mentally free. Then when you have it, right? When you have that, you are mentally very free. So some people will be asking, hey, how to do savings? How am I going to do savings? So in banking, we normally tell our clients, advocate to our clients, you need to build up your savings not after making your consumptions. Now, many people are used to do savings after making the consumptions. So after making consumptions, you will have very limited amount of money to save. So very important, everybody. So if you are going to save, if you want to save, right? If you want to save something, very important that you all have to make the saving from the very right beginning. At the source of your income, when the income is being generated, at that particular time itself, you have to make the saving, right? When you are earning itself, when your salary is credited, let's say if you have employment income, when your salary is credited, at that point itself, you need to make the savings. So everybody, start up a savings account which is outside your bank, which has your, these are normal practical things that our people are doing who are very good at planning and creating financial independence. What they do is they will create a kind of a savings account without electronic banking, without ATM card, okay, and sometimes with a debit block as well. So what do they do? From your salary account, they do a mandatory fund transfer to that particular, we call it Bermuda Triangle account. So they do that fund transfer every time, every month. So a standing order is there for that Bermuda Triangle account where you don't have an ATM card, where you don't have a, I would say, electronic banking facility. So for that, you have to go to the bank branch itself to withdraw your money. Okay. Otherwise, what will happen if you have if you have a account, savings account where you have fund transfer facility, if you have electronic banking facility, ATM cards, what will happen? It's like that you good old days when you collect your money into a till. What will happen when you don't have money? You put a scissor or whatever, and you take out that money. So to avoid that happening, right? To avoid that happening, have a kind of a, what I normally tell my audience always is that is a Bermuda Triangle account. You don't know where the money is going, but you obviously have a hold on that. So how much amount of money you have to save? What's the rule of thumb in terms of savings? So basically, we call approximately 1/4 of your remuneration has to be saved. 1/4 of your remuneration has to be saved. If you save only, you can build upon that on investments. And these are things that you know, right? These things you perfectly fine, you know. Savings will create your investments. I will come back to investments again, right? So if you do mandatory savings only, you can do the investments. So at the time of source of your income, when the employment income, the remuneration or salary is generated, you are making that fund transfer. So the pool of funds is available for you to make the investments. Pool of funds is available for you to make the investments. So just to recollect what we have learned, we have discussed so far. So I told you, first and foremost, you have to decide upon when to retire. So I told you that's quite a kind of a cutting edge decision, a kind of a, I would say, a critical decision that you have to make. Am I going to retire early? Am I going to retire conventionally? Or will I continue my work until my twilight? That's one thing. And then you have to strategize upon. Then the importance of financial discipline, right? Living well within your means. So your mortgage, housing mortgage has to be controllable. Your vehicle mortgage has to be very controllable. Those are things I told you. Then the importance of savings. Why savings is important is, my dear friends, because based on the savings only, we will be building upon our investments towards our retirement. So how much amount of money we have to save? I told you at the source, at the time of generation of your income, at the source itself, approximately 25% you have to save, right? That has to go to that Bermuda Triangle account where you don't have an ATM, where you don't have a electronic banking facility. That has to be there. Then, so what are the things that you got to do? What are the things that you got to avoid? Avoid what sort of things that you got to avoid? Now, basically, if I'm talking from Sri Lankan context, right? When we talk about Sri Lankan context, we have something called crib report, and everywhere, right? Globally also, we have credit reference checking, right? You have Dun and Bradstreet, you have different credit reference checking also globally, Europe, Middle East, Sri Lanka itself, right? We have credit referencing checking. So, my dear friends, every time have the discipline, because it's very unfortunate that I have to tell this into our people, because we are the ones who preach and make sure that finance is in discipline, but our own finance is not there. Because of that, personal loans, our credit cards, many of our members, many of our people's credit cards and personal loans have gone into arrears. So all our arrears are recorded in crib reports. So remember that. If there is any arrears that is happening in our debt facilities, which we have obtained, even a check return that we have made will be recorded in the crib report. And our credit referencing is now very sophisticated. Our credit referencing is now extremely sophisticated. Whatever arrears now happening are recorded. So it's really important that we pay our bills on time, pay our loans on time, right? Bills payment on time, our loans payment on time is extremely important. So have that discipline of making your bills payments on time. So have that discipline. Okay, so and again, I'm reminding you, if you have any kind of a question, a query, right? If you have any query or a question, you can drop that in our chat box. So I will be towards the end, I will be taking them. I'll be going through those questions, and I will let you know what are my suggestions and what are my experience that you can also take into account and improve your credit and as well as financial discipline. So because globally as well as in Sri Lankan terms, all credit facilities are recorded. So therefore, payment on time is really important. Get my point, right? So payment, making your repayments on time, really important. So make the payments on time. So keep that. So now you have a pool of funds now from your Bermuda Triangle account. You have a pool of funds, right? So with that pool of funds, you can do wonders. Okay. Many successful businessmen always save, right? Many successful businessmen always save. So when you save, you get a pool of funds. So with that pool of funds, what you can do? So very important, if you are an employee, if you are a person who is working somewhere, you always need to have a health insurance, right? Now, when the insurance agent coming after you, calling you, reminding you about insurance, we all try to avoid insurance, right? We think like, it's an additional expenditure. We should not do that. And my employer provides me my insurance free of charge for my family. We all tend to, let's say, I don't need that. I don't need an insurance. I don't need the insurance. Health cover, I don't need. But my dear friends, we all don't know what sort of illnesses we may have. We all don't know what sort of illnesses we may have, right? Very recently, about 5 to 3 years back, if you can remember, somewhere in Marine Drive in Dehiwala, right? I'm just sharing one of my experiences, right? Somewhere closer to Marine Drive, Dehiwala, if you can remember, 2 girls knocked down by train. If you can remember, right? They were going to a party in a seaside restaurant there. So 2 girls knocked down by train. One of the girls' father was my customer, right? One of the girls' father was my customer. You don't know, he is a kind of a massively rich person, right? Into freight forwarding business. You know the incident, right? What I'm talking about, right? This incident of train accident, you remember, because it was kind of hit at that time. It was a hit on the social media. So this businessman was a massively rich person, right? You name, he had everything. His daughter got hit by a train on that particular, I would say, fatal day. After 1 month time, he got diagnosed with leukemia, right? A cancer type. After 6 months time, he died. Daughter obviously on the spot died. Family was in ruins. Entire businesses collapsed. Now imagine 6 months ago, they were a very happy family. But 6 months down the line, everything was a disaster. See how the events turned out to be. That's how in our life, how cruel our life is. So we need to, with our savings, we need to now go for our investments. So what are the most common, what are the most, I would say, rewarding investments that we can have? So when we talk about investments, everybody be afraid, be careful about pyramid schemes, Ponzi schemes, unregulated schemes. Now, in the banking sector, we have always identified our people are going behind unregulated sector, pyramid schemes, Ponzi schemes. Okay, how well educated our people in finance are, we go behind them. So easy to remember any Ponzi scheme or any unregulated scheme. If someone is promoting a scheme to you, asking you to, once you join, to rejoin people and you get a referral fee, my dear friends, that's a pyramid scheme. or a Ponzi scheme that you have to avoid. So avoid them. How lucrative the offers they say. Maybe they sometimes say this is very similar to forex trading, right? It's maybe Binance or something like that, right? So remember, if someone comes to you kind of promoting a scheme for you to join, where you also have to make other people join there, you join, other people also join, for that you get referral fee. That's a scheme which is making a kind of a Ponzi or unauthorized, unregulated scheme, because that those kind of schemes will anyway collapse, right? You don't know at which point you are joining. Sometimes they may say, so you are joining at the top, so you at least about 6 months, 1 year, you get good money, 30% return on investment in 1 month. Forget about it, right? So avoid it, because I unfortunately I have to tell all this, because even how well we preach these, our people again and again, how many times see students, right, from the Sakvitis case to until the cases that are coming recently, very recently, our people again and again. Now these are not poor people, right? These are not uneducated people. These are well-educated professionals in this country, right, who get deceived. So avoid unregulated sector. So what you got to do in investments in terms of your retirement? My dear friends, always in investments, remember the diversification. Diversification is the golden principle in terms of your investments. So based on whatever the preference of you are, diversify your investments. So always part of your investment should be at a high income yielding fixed deposit accounts. Really important, right? The kind of golden rule, right, which you always remember, always hear. Don't put all your eggs into one basket. That particular rule that you hear over and over again has to be applied here as well. So from the savings that you developed, right, from the mandatory savings that you accumulated into your account, so always have part, let's say about 20 to 30% of that money should be in your fixed deposits. Fixed deposits. When you are selecting a fixed deposit also, look at the rating of the financial institution, right? The fixed rating, the external independent rating. Based on the rating only, you have to invest, right? If in terms of Sri Lanka, my dear friends, all the banks I do recommend, right? Because Sri Lankan banks are highly regulated. At the height of the economic crisis, even not a single bank has collapsed. So that's the trust we have on the banking sector, right? So all the government banks, the private banks, we can highly recommend, right? So always see the Fitch rating, the external rating, the independent rating, and part of your money should be in the fixed deposit. Number one. Number two, now these days, the wealth planning accounts are very popular, right? Sometimes they pay more than the fixed deposit interest. So if the wealth planning account is coming from a I would say, well-established organization, I do recommend investment in a wealth planning account as well, but not 100% of your investment, but part of the investment. And when it is a wealth plan, I will not tell you the names of wealth planning organizations, because then it's a kind of a promotion. No? But if you are making a wealth planning account, right, investment, always, now people try to say, right? So people try to say to me, asking me, Nilendra, is that wealth planning account is similar to banking? I say, banking is regulated by always by the central bank and banking act regulations, but wealth planners are not that. So you have to accept a higher degree of risk. So for that, you will be paid a higher degree of return. So fixed deposit, the wealth plan from a recognized wealth planning institute. So part of money these days, right? Wealth planner is also a good thing. So your health insurance, retirement insurance account, then wealth planner, fixed deposit. Then move into real estate. If you have any additional money, always the inflation guard is in Sri Lanka, right? In overseas also is the real estate. When you are selecting real estate as well, right? When you select real estate as an investment, don't blindly go and invest in real estate, because there is an art in real estate. Remember that. Now, everybody will be now. For people who are working abroad, all these real estate agents will be promoting you real estate. That happens now. So if someone is promoting real estate, ask from him, am I purchasing the first few blocks? Am I purchasing the first few blocks? If I am not purchasing the first few blocks, the amount of capital appreciation or capital gain that I can earn will be very limited. So if you are purchasing the first few blocks, you are upon the deal. So remember that. And also, when you are purchasing a kind of a real estate in a blockout scheme even, right? Always remember, try to purchase real estate from a very popular, well-established and highly renowned real estate company. And also, whatever the real estate, the kind of land that you are going to purchase or the property that you are going to purchase should be in a rapidly increasing neighborhood. Now, sometimes, my dear friends, people will say, hey, should I purchase in Battaramulla? Should I purchase in, let's say, Mount Lavinia? Should I purchase in, let's say, in Kiribati? My explanation to them is, hey, Mount Lavinia, Kiribati, or let's say, how do I say, Battaramulla, those areas are already, the prices are at its peak. But if you go to the areas like, let's say, Aturugiriya, if you go to the areas like Panadura, if you go, now these are for investments, no? If you go to areas like, let's say, area beyond Kottava, right? These are the areas where the return on investment is very high, where the capital appreciation is so high. So select that kind of area where you can get quick capital appreciation. So what you can do is, for your retirement, right, you can purchase these kind of good investments. Now, one of my friends, what he does is, right, from whatever the annual bonus he get, he purchased a kind of 3 million, 2 million worth of a land plot from a well-reputed land development agency. So after about 5 years' time, that 3 million, 2 million worth of investment, the land plot that he has invested, may be coming closer to 10 million, 10.5 million or 11 million. So he get a hefty capital appreciation on that. Get my point? And if you are working overseas, my dear friends, be careful. The types of deeds, right? The documentation forgery is also there. So be careful on that as well. So you should have a proper lawyer connected to you. A good lawyer connected to you should also be there, because kind of land title documents forgery is also very common nowadays. So that has to be very well checked. So the best inflation guard for you is investment in real estate. So when you are investing in real estate, my dear friends, very important that how you pick your investment land plot, right? So it has to be the golden rules. It has to be from a well-reputed developer, kind of not a already saturated market, but a market which is kind of in a high capital appreciation. So the suburb areas are the areas which you can always count on. At that particular time period, see the road access, see the government development plans. If you can go to UDA, if you can go to RDA, you can see the government development plan. So find out the government development plan. So develop the plot. And also when you are selecting the plot also, see the first few blocks that you are purchasing. Very important. And if you are investing in apartments, now some of you, when you achieve the kind of designation, or when you go in the career ladder, you will be you can get good return on investment by investing in apartments as well. Apartments also the same thought that I'm going to tell you. As much as possible, try to purchase at the beginning. Then you can always negotiate and bargain for a discounted price. And see the developers' past track record. I have seen many of our people burning their hands and fingers by investing in apartments of lesser known, unknown developers. So real estate investments, really important. So few points I told you. having the importance of health insurance. My dear friends, never think of retiring without a health insurance. Then the fixed deposit. Fixed deposit always, right? You need to have the service of the bank, because if you are overseas, if you are in Sri Lanka even, the bank service is really important. The doorstep service that is being provided by the bank, really important. And the stability of the bank and the financial institution. Avoid unregulated sector, avoid Ponzi schemes, as well as avoid unregulated, I would say, the pyramid schemes. I told you how you can recognize those. And from the very first time for the introducer, sometimes these unregulated sector investments are introduced to you by the family members, by your close friends. Vehemently reject it, right? Vehemently reject it from the very first time. From the first instance, reject the offer. Extremely important. Then the fixed deposit. Then the wealth planner. Ask from your wealth planner, from a very regulated, let's say, kind of a wealth planning company with a good reputation. See whether am I getting a tax benefit or am I not getting a tax benefit? Whether will there be a tax benefit or will there not be a tax benefit? So wealth plan account, and the best inflation guard towards your retirement is your real estate investments. So real estate investments also, I have seen many people burning their hands and fingers by investing in real estate on forged deeds, right? Lands where you don't have access. So therefore, developer reliability, and at which point of time that you are purchasing your land plot. Koi vela the purchase karan. And am I buying remaining land plots, or is it at the first instance that I am buying? And if it is an apartment investment, so many of you will have kind of money, right, to purchase a good apartment, right, in everywhere, in Sri Lanka or even overseas. So am I purchasing at the inception? Because if it is at the inception, you can get a good discount, right? So if you select a proper investment, so sometimes at the time of, let's say, developer finish the condominium, at the time of developer finishing, you can just sell off by keeping about 3-4 times gain. So that investments are also really important for all of you. Okay, so always remember the importance of diversification. Importance of diversification. And also, finally, I will be telling you the importance of entrepreneurship. Why entrepreneurship is really important to us. My dear friends, we can work, right? We can work for people. We can work for organizations. But sidely, right, without, let's say, violating your HR policies of the places where you are working, develop your own entrepreneurship. Start off your own entrepreneurship. Many of you don't know, my dear friends, are good on something that many of others don't know, right? Sometimes you only need to identify the demand gap in your environment. Sometimes, right, you have to just identify the demand gap. If you identify a demand gap, you have to fill that gap through a solution. You just develop a solution to identify the demand gap. So start off your entrepreneurship side by side. Do it, right? No one of you have missed the bus. You can today start your own entrepreneurship. So if you start your entrepreneurship itself, that's the main, I would say, savior of you at your retirement, because you have a cash flow which is coming to you at the time of retirement. So start off it. First instance, second instance, third instance, even at the 10th instance, you may not be able to survive. You may not be able to, let's say, break your ground. But maybe, let's say, 20th instance, you can start. So importance of entrepreneurship. So if it is entrepreneurship these days in Sri Lanka, but I'm talking about the Sri Lankan context, tourism industry is doing really well, right? Our expectation in coming season, we expect our hotel rooms will be filled, and we expect a kind of oversupply, over demand in terms of tourist rooms. So these days, if no political drama happens, we expect a kind of excess tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka. So tourism sector. Maybe you can start your own Airbnb, right? Purchase a house down south, or maybe in L area, or maybe in Kandy. Start your own Airbnb. If you are working overseas, put up your own CCTV camera system, put a kind of a room boy, and run your own business. Earn good money, right? So whatever finance principles that you are preaching to your employer, you can have into that particular place, and you can run your own business. So tourism is an area which is kind of highly potential these days, right? Then, my dear friends, return on investment is really good in tourism. Still, after the kind of economic crisis that we experienced, other sectors I am unable to recommend yet, but we see some sort of a recovery in trading, in healthcare sector, right? In other sectors also, with the interest rates coming down, rates are now around 13%, 14% in AWPLR. So we expect that the rates to further go down. So with that, we expect, right? Because we, as a country, we have gone down to the rock bottom. So there should be a recovery. So tourism sector is a sector which I endorse, which I promote, if political issues stay as it is. So have it in that sense. Have it in that sense. So it's an area where you can build up your entrepreneurship. Okay. So if you have it, then you will have a regular cash flow that will save you at the time of retirement. So the points that I told you, living well within your means, you're having a kind of a health insurance scheme, diversification of your investments, savings at the time of inception of generating money. And my dear friends, very important that doing business, start off your entrepreneurship, there are potential areas. Inflation guard, real estate investments, because at any given point of time, real estate you can sell. But quickly you can sell. Vehicle investments in Sri Lanka, trading of vehicles is also a very good investment. But if you are overseas, that particular thing, it's very difficult for you to do. So therefore, that kind of investment with a kind of a cautious and a kind of a skeptical approach on the share market also, part of the investment you can do. But if you are investing in share market, you have to be kind of always on the ball, right? Always you have to monitor the things, has to do it in that way. So the importance of financial discipline ultimately lead you all towards achieving your financial goals. Okay. So just to take some questions that you have shared. Sachini, is it okay that I take questions and answer them, or?
It's okay, Nilendra.
All right. Thanks. Yes, Shamir. When saving should be completed and start to invest from that. Yes. So always develop the principle. Have a mandatory saving. So if any participant who joined now, the point if you have missed the point, at the source itself, you have to make the saving. So have a standing order from your salary account to another saving account where you don't have a ATM, where you don't have electronic banking facility. So that is your pool of funds. That's your treasury, right? I normally say that's your treasury. So that's your treasury account, or your Bermuda Triangle account, where you don't have any form of withdrawal other than you go to the bank branch and withdrawing. So have that. Through that only that you make those investments that I told you. So those investments are the ones you have to have. So I think Sanuja Karunaratna, what are the best investment opportunities available in Sri Lanka right now? Because the share market is manipulating. So share market, whether it is manipulating or not, Sanuja, I can't talk about it. But you can do an investment. But if you do investment in stock market, you have to constantly, always on the monitoring, has to do it. High volatility in interest rates, etc., etc. That's what, Sanuja, I told you. Importance of fixed deposits, importance of wealth plan accounts, which will give you higher than fixed deposits, and then importance of inflation guard. Inflation guard is really important, right? Because all fixed deposits, all wealth plan accounts are subjected to losses due to inflation. So therefore, because of that, you have to definitely go for real estate investments. Real estate investments at any given point of time you can sell. So marketable, well-reputed developers at the first instance itself you got to purchase, then only the magical capital appreciation you can take. Real estate investments, that's why those are really important. Yes, then Shamir, highly interested in doing a business that is working public practice, right? And but not sure what to do and how to do. Shamir, public practice, yes, that's quite good, and you can do it as a chartered accountant. So once you get your qualification and when you get your practicing license, develop a customer base, right? Always, if you are into public practice, if you are into service industry, very important your customer service, very important that you maintain your fundamental principles, your ethics, then only you get good business. So through that, by word of mouth, you can develop your business. Any business, any entrepreneurship that you target your retirement, my dear friends, customer service is number one. Nowadays, you can charge any rate, any fare if you do customer service. Because when you provide customer service, the doorstep service to the customer, be it any business, be myself as a banker, you can charge any amount from the customer. So have that, right? So develop that. So we as chartered accountants, sometimes our customer service may be poor because we are good at numbers now, right? So if you are starting entrepreneurship, targeting your retirement, right? So because that will be your savior. So from the beginning, learn the art of customer service. Read Ron Kaufman's books, right? Ron Kaufman is the guru of customer service. Read them if you want to start a business, right? Read those books. So you have a lot of electronic media as well. Then there's another question from Deepta. What do you think about crypto assets, Binance Exchange? Deepta, crypto assets and Binance Exchange, forex trading. Forex trading in terms of Sri Lanka, being a banker, what I can tell you, there are things that I can speak and I am unable to speak as well, right? Crypto and Binance. So crypto and Binance, forex trading in Sri Lanka, we don't have a proper legal and regulatory framework. So therefore, if something bad happens to you, because if you do it in a legitimate platform itself, you accept the risk and you do it. But if you do it in a kind of a platform which is illegitimate, which is, I would say, a fraudulent, if you incur a loss, there is no means that you can claim your loss. So therefore, you have to accept that risk and you have to trade. Okay, so I am unable to promote that. So it's the risk that you accept and then you promote it. Then you work on it. But Deepta, keep in your mind that's a risk that you accept fairly higher than what the normal banking or regulated sector in Sri Lanka herein. So for that, you have to increase your return. So if you get a return that is higher than your acceptance of risk, then you may go ahead with it. But there is no legal framework to safeguard you. So therefore, you have to be very careful on that. So accept that risk and continue. So the banking sector and regulated sector, the confidence that I'm giving to you is that even at the height of the economic crisis, even at the height of the issues, our banking sector didn't collapse. If you take Lebanon, if you take Argentina, if you take Afghanistan, if you take any other country which was collapsed, the banking sector collapsed. But in Sri Lanka, it didn't. Agree? So therefore, you can have a trust on that particular system. Anything? Yes, who is this? Samantha. What about investing in gold? Yes, investing in gold, a very good inflation guard, right? As I told you in real estate, investment in gold is a very good inflation guard, but it is also only about 10 to 15% of your total investment fund. So the similar treasury principle that we preach to our organizations, right? So something which is hard item, maybe gold, maybe let's say a vehicle, maybe let's say a property. So anything like that. Then some cash securities, then a health insurance coverage, then a kind of wealth plan. So likewise, diversified, and nothing will save you other than your own entrepreneurship. So start working on it. Even if you are remotely, you can start doing good businesses, right? So tourism is the area that I normally tell you is very important. And these days, we find it more interesting. Okay. So yes, people are very good, right? You are actively participating. I'm quite encouraged, right? Because this is a very timely topic. I think our Dimuthu, Sachini and Tarindu, our team has selected, right? That's what you all are interestingly participating. With this, Madhukar, currently in Sri Lanka, insurance companies are introducing health insurance plus wealth plan options, hybrid plans. What do you think about that? Yes, exactly, right? So part of your investment for those wealth planning plus, let's say, retirement planning plus health cover. Definitely health cover should be there, right? Whatever you do, health cover has to be there. Yes, those I quite recommend. And at the time, sometimes we are very good at, let's say, our NPV and IRR calculations. No? When the insurance agent comes, when he comes up and when he shows you that the particular retirement terminal value, you put your own NPV and IRR, you try to be smart and you show him, hey, with NPV calculation, this is coming this much, so I don't invest, right? We are very good at our numbers, right? We are, as finance professionals, we are good at it. We show the insurance agent, now with NPV, this is very, very low amount. Now, imagine, my dear friends, if something happens to me, what will happen to my loved ones? They will be gone, right? But if you have a health cover, if you have a kind of a life cover, they will be looked after. See the situation. If a terminal illness happened to me, myself will be safeguarded and myself will be protected by this cover. So go ahead with it. Madhukar, so recommended. Plantation sector in Sri Lanka is growing. What's your view? Agriculture. Yes. Who's that? Samantha. Samantha, yes, plantation sector is growing. But if it is plantation sector, you need to have a kind of a person who is there to manage your business, to manage your plantation there itself, who is very trustworthy to you. Otherwise, because plantation sector, you have to invest more, right? For fertilizer, let's say for land clearance, for, let's say, planting, replanting and everything, a lot of investment. You have to dump it. So to get that return on investment, you can get, right? Very good return on investment you can get. But for that, you need to have a kind of a very trustworthy person who is managing your plantation. So recommended. But for that, you can go for a polytunnel, small area, let's say 20 perch, 40 perch area, polytunnel. Through that, you can do a smart agriculture. So search on them, right? Smart agriculture, Samantha, look for that. Then you don't have to have much of tens of hundreds of acres of land. The same return you can go get from smart agriculture, polytunnel, greenhouse, you can get the same return. Ajit Kumar, why getting a health insurance by ourselves as important when our employer already bought a life insurance for us? Ajit Kumar, what happens when you are retiring? That's when you need the health cover, right? But at the retirement, when you are, let's say, achieving your age of 60, your insurance provider will not give you the health cover, right? So right now itself, you have to get it. Okay. So very important that, Ajit Kumar. So many people, that's what I told you at the beginning. We say my employer provides me free insurance cover. So at that time, when I retire, whatever something happens to me, what will happen to us? Yes, pension schemes are available, Rilwan, right? Pension schemes are available. Insurance companies are providing it. I can't name you the insurance companies, but they have, right? Pension accounts. Mufid, I want to ask a question related to rental income for apartments that you own, right? Yes, Airbnb are trustable or better options available considering being Mumbai in India. Yes, recommended, right? Because that rental income, that is a kind of an income. Who is this? Mufid? Two ways. you get a monthly rental income, right? On the other side, you get a passive income in terms of capital appreciation. So if you have money, invest on that, right? Do that. So when you do these investments through savings, when you do the investments from savings, money making becomes a habit for you. You get my point? That's what the businessmen will do. No, the businessmen, the entrepreneurs, they make money making a habit. So, but we professionals, we are very good at, let's say, spending. Our credit card, our personal loans, we are very good at spending. And also we are partly good at savings. Savings also we are very partly good at, but we are not good at investments. So for retirement planning, the importance of investments is that. Okay. So I think I have answered the questions, Sachini.
Yeah, and there are a few more questions in our Q&A section as well.
All right. Let me see. Manohari. What happens to the credit card debt upon death? Does the family members need to settle the banks, or can the bank claim from insurance companies? Manohari, if the credit card holder dies, if it is not a joint card, the family members do not have to pay. Not to worry. But if it is joint card, right, joint card holder have to pay. But if it is only, let's say, I obtain my card under my name, my family members don't have to pay. Very good question, right? I think many people have this particular issue. Yes, Manohari, good question. Right. So the next one, could you please explain? See, could you please explain why the mutual fund industry, very good at India, no? Mutual fund industry not grown in Sri Lanka comparing with other countries. Yes. The importance is the regulatory framework. In Sri Lanka, the regulatory framework is not there, right? For the mutual funds, that's the reason. So I heard that the regulations, the relevant legal background is being worked upon by the government. So I think going forward in next few years, mutual funds will come in. In India, mutual funds are really popular, right? Very good question. How do we determine the year of retirement exactly from now? It's a call, right? Conscious call that you have to take. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, right? If you want to become an entrepreneur, I would say, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you always say retire at 35, retire at 40. So that's the target you should have. So you just make a quick kind of a blast. You make a quick money, you save quick savings, then you retire. Or else, if you want to, let's say, conventionally retire, yes, you have some time, you take your breathing space, health insurance, work on them. So that's a personal call that you have to make, my dear friend, right? So if you want, now some people are passionate about entrepreneurship, right? So you can do your own planning. And so that's why SWOT analysis is important to you, right? Then how can you mitigate the interest rate versus investment risk when you invest in fixed deposit? So at that time, normally for fixed deposits, I recommend you to go for, let's say, medium term tenors, like 1 year, 6 months tenors. Then only you can have a kind of interest rate as well as, I would say, tenor risk. Medium term, 1 year, 6 months. Don't put 3 months, because in Sri Lanka nowadays rate revisions are quickly happening, right? I'm making this to Sri Lankan context. So, but in other countries also, my dear friends, yes, medium term is the ideal. For public practice, the market is too saturated. Given the current situation in the country, market is too saturated. We can't even attract SMEs as well. For bigger clients, already big firms have dominated the market. I think Sri Lanka should bring in laws like India and give more chances for smaller level firms. Market is saturated. That's why customer service is important. The digitalization is important, right? If you also try to offer the same product, if your offering is also same, your offering is also same, you will not gain client base. But for any business at any environment, service is number one. We finance professionals are not good at service, right? Potentially, typically, we are quite old school in terms of service, but customer service, your, let's say, quality control, keeping your fundamental principles within it. But if you go and offer that extra service, that is not violation of your ethics, but do that, you get business. Yes, real estate is high liquid. Don't worry, right? Any agricultural sector that you can recommend to invest to become an entrepreneur? Agricultural sector, I always recommend for you all, right? For emerging entrepreneurs like you all, agricultural sector is smart agriculture. Polytunnels, right? It's a small land, sometimes even 40 perch land, you can do it. Polytunnel, greenhouse, right? You can do that. But if you are to, let's say, do a kind of a real estate, what you call agriculture into coconut estate, or let's say kind of tea estate, or whatever the plantation, mango plantation, that's a kind of a massive investment that you have to make. And sometimes from overseas, you are unable to do it, right? So small area, smart agriculture, right? Polytunnels, drip irrigation, these things will help out you. And in that also, gherkin, kind of chili types will give you a higher return, right? So if you search on them, you can definitely make use of it. With the domestic debt restructuring, will that have an impact on our banking sector? I saw one bank is very much exposed to the government. Dilan, not to worry. Domestic debt restructure already done. Banks were saved, right? So domestic debt restructure already done, Dilan, about 2 months back. Banks were impacted very limitedly, right? So not to worry on that demand, Dilan. Domestic debt restructure already done. Rohan, wealth management, there are so many non-conventional wealth accumulation vehicles in developed countries, such as annuities, arts, classic cars. Yes. Numismatic opportunities in Sri Lanka are very limited in these areas. Only notable exceptions, perhaps classic cars. Why is that? Again, the regulations. Again, I would say the market is so small. That's what. Sir, can you tell what are the books that you can recommend to read for customer service? Any book which is written by Ron Kaufman. Ron Kaufman is recommended. Ron Kaufman. Savings in foreign currency. What are your recommendation? Yes, good, but part, right? Not everything. Don't put your all eggs in one basket. So foreign currency accounts, really good. Comparatively to other countries in Sri Lanka, you get a better return for foreign currency accounts. Yes, good, but part should be in LKR as well. I want to keep deposits in USD and SLR, LKR. Which currency deposit is better for next 5 years? Again, I'm telling 50-50. Don't put everything in USD or SLR, because USD SLR alone, but have a 50-50 kind of a investment. Rental income helps create assets. Yes, good. Last, let's say if I am having some savings in USD terms, is it good time to convert now when looking at the exchange rate fluctuations? What is your view on USD rate in short and long term? My dear friends, one thing to answer to you, never expect USD rate to go into 500s. Never expect. Now, people expected the dollar to go into 500. Even some people said it is going to 1,000. Never. Because it's all about demand and supply. If dollar goes to 500, people in Sri Lanka has to eat things which were imported at $500 rupees per dollar. It will not happen. So therefore, this will stabilize somewhere around 360, 380, or somewhere around 340, 360, 380, somewhere around that stabilize. So I would say, if you want to liquidate part now and part hold. Part liquidate, part hold. Manohari, if they said upon death certificate is furnished, the bank will pursue recovery action on a credit card. If the person is dead and the death certificate is being given, no recovery action on the people who are living. Not to worry. Mortgage rates out of Sri Lanka is like 4 to 6%, and rupee is losing its value too. Isn't it more benefited to buy a property outside Sri Lanka, means the country we live? Please advise. Yes. That's also a kind of a thing that you can do. Property in a country where you live, that's also a thing that you can do, right? No problem, right? That also diversify your risk. What about investment in jewelries? Gold? Yes, part of the investment. It's an inflation guard, I told you. Hard investment, a good investment, like real estate. No problem at all. Sachini, I think we answered all, right? Very engaging audience.
So this is the first time we received like this number of questions. So with that, we have reached to the end of our session. So thank you, Nilendra, for giving us a chance to learn from your expertise, and thank you for accepting our invitation. And the webinar provide valuable insights and expertise, because we could see.
And Sachini, one moment.
Yeah.
So one moment to thank all of you, right? To thank Dimuthu, then you, Sachini, and our good friend Tarindu, and all the team, right, who coordinated with us, coordinated with me, and opportunity provided to us. Because one last point I'm concluding, even our people, how we are financially literate at the time of investment, the greediness, right, comes into our mind. So it's quite normal, right? It will happen to me, it will happen to someone else, right? How financially literate we are, sometimes we make some blunderous decisions. So with what we discussed today, at least you will improve your decision making. That's the pleasure that we as a team will have. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yes. Thank you, Nilendra. And also, like dear participants, we hope you gain deep understanding on the webinar content. So thank you for your active participation. And finally, big thank to Executive Committee for organizing this webinar. And once again, thank you everyone, and we will meet you soon in our next event. So until then, have a great evening. Thank you.